Hello again, and welcome to our podcast, Along the Rock. It's really a tribute to the people of the Sauk Valley and the river that runs through the valley. I'm Mark Morris, and today we'll be speaking about the Rock Falls State Report Card. You may have heard about that over the years, and I'm not sure how long they've been doing it. Mike Berentes is my guest today. Thanks for coming up, Mike.
Yeah.
Rock Falls has some good news to report.
Yeah, I think there's certain things on there we can celebrate for sure. I mean, graduation rate is positive. Earning a commendable rating, I think, is where everybody wants to live. We aspire to be, in that highest category, but we'll take the commendable rating.
Yeah, as you pointed out before we started taping today, the state report card is not just a test. It includes some other important sociological factors too, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. So obviously we all know the state has measured our students on their ability to be successful on standardized test, the SAT, for a number of years. Prior to that, the ACT, which now we're returning to the ACT for our state test this coming year. But yeah, they take into account obviously some other data like we talked about with graduation rate and truancy rate and attendance rate, students on track, ninth grade students on track. So yeah, they take a number of things to come up with that rating.
And it's always a comparison from the year before or the years before. So how has Rock Falls, you're with the Township High School, of course, principal there, but how has Rock Falls improved?
So we've been pretty steady with our commendable rating since they came out with this new formula to give schools ratings. We've stayed steady within that category. We've had test scores go up and down. Again, it's not an apples to apples rating because it's looking at testing from a previous class. You move on to another group of students. So it's always evolving that way.
Sure.
But we've stayed pretty consistent with our numbers across the board.
Now, you mentioned some numbers before we started again recording, but what are some of those good numbers? I know test-wise, it sounded
Test-wise
good to me.
was okay. Things that we can work on, and we have to put into perspective. They're looking at a one-day test for that rating. And we look at our students as college and career ready, getting them out the door in 4 years to be positive members of society and our community here at Rock Falls, whether that's workforce, whether that's college, whether that's military. And the test is it's a college entrance exam, which all of our kids do not go on to 4-year universities. They go right into the workforce. They're building this community in Rock Falls. So the test is not the end-all, be-all of everything. So we do try and push our kids to be in school every day, to get them on track to graduate in 4 years. And I think we've done a pretty good job of doing that along with our test scores. Would we like to see test scores be much higher? Absolutely. But if we all got measured on one day, I think that'd be a tough challenge for all of us.
I agree. And as you say, there's always going to be a difference because you're constantly, I don't want to use the word churning, but that's what you're doing. You're graduating of another class, and there are going to be differences, just as there are differences among human beings.
Right. Yeah. So test scores last year, English, we were up towards 30%, meeting and exceeding standards, and we took a drop this year. I think there are some things as we progress, and I don't want to harp on. We mentioned the COVID factor. We're starting to get to that point where seeing the end of it, where that was a critical time in our students' development. They missed some significant time, some gaps, some homeschool. So we're getting back to a different place, I think, where our students are comfortable being in school every day.
Something that has not solely about Rock Falls. In fact, I've seen some, checked out some other district report cards, and attendance, just your basic attendance coming to school, that has, taken a hit, and I'm assuming that COVID had a big part of that.
I think we had a lot of students get very comfortable being at home for a long period of time. Sure. I think the impact, the social emotional impact on our students at a critical time in their life impacted their comfort level being social, being around in big groups of people. And, we think about it as adults. It was hard for us to kind of come back to the real world, teachers, business, all types of employees. I think when you're at that critical point in your life where now we're seeing our kids, they were in middle school, right? Now they're in the high school. That's a tough thing to come back from, and it takes some time. And I think it's been a gradual process. And like I said, I think we're starting to see things get back to as normal as possible.
There have always been some whispers, if you will, cries in the background that we don't like teaching, speaking of the teachers, of course, to a test. Has that changed? Has it improved because they've now added some other factors instead of just the one-day test?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I think there's always the idea of what can we do to better prepare students for that test. Because no matter what we do in the building and how we feel about how we're doing our job, educating our students, preparing them for the real world, people are going to open the paper or look at the report card and go, well, Rock Falls or Sterling or Dixon, their tests aren't very good. They're not teaching our kids. So there is that point of it's important to have a positive score. You want to see your test scores go up. But I think the state has allowed us to measure all the other good things we're doing in our building. And so it's not all about the test, but it's a significant part for sure.
Sure. Extracurriculars has always been one way, just one way, but depending on the different sports and other activities, theater and everything else, of getting kids interested, if not in studies, then in some extracurriculars.
Right.
Has that picked up with the attendance?
We've seen a drop in some of our certain sports and our clubs and our activities. And we preach that from day one when they walk in the building as freshmen. Our ultimate goal is to find something. We're a little over 500 students in the building. We try and provide them each an outlet of some sort to be connected to school, whether it's sports, whether it's, like I said, theater, drama, clubs, activities. Anything they can do to be connected to the building is going to help them to show up every day, to be involved and engaged with their peers, and that's only going to help things in the classroom and socially and as they move on to adult life, for sure.
Don't want to put you on the spot, but one last question before I let you go. If you had one sentence to describe to, one word maybe, I don't know, one sentence to describe what Rock Falls has done, how they progressed to a potential student and his parents, what would it be?
Talk about putting me on the spot here.
Sorry about that.
I'm a Rock Falls graduate. My dad's a Rock Falls graduate. My mom's a Rock Falls graduate. My wife, my kids. I believe in Rock Falls. I believe in Rock Falls High School. If I didn't, I wouldn't have come back. I was gone for 20 years. I believe in what we do in the building is important and it's valuable. There are always positives, good things going on in the building, but just like anywhere else in the world, sometimes those negatives get more publicity than what the positives are. But I think Rock Falls kids, when they walk out of our building, they're good members of society. They give back to this community, and that's all we can hope for.
Sure. All right.
That wasn't one word.
Or one sentence. That's okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Thanks to Mike Berentes, who is the principal at Rock Falls Township High School. Also, want to give thanks to our crew here, just for making this whole program possible on a semi-weekly basis. And hope you can join us next time. I'm Mark Morris. I'll be your host. And join us again along the route.